They made me clean toilets while they stole my idea. 2 years later, they begged me to save them. I wasn't supposed to be in tech. That's what my boss said. You're not a culture fit, Marla told me, smiling like she meant it. I had joined Parallax Systems straight out of college as an intern. I didn't go to Stanford like the others. I was quiet, awkward, and needed time to think before I spoke. That made me weird to them. Marla ran the place like a high school clique. If you weren't loud, funny, or dressed in overpriced hoodies, you were ignored, or worse, humiliated. I got both. The joke started small. They began calling me Bug Girl because I logged too many QA errors. I didn't mind. Bugs were fixable. Then they stopped inviting me to meetings. They changed the project password. One time, I walked into the kitchen and saw them laughing. Someone had pasted a meme on the fridge with my face photoshopped onto a mop. The caption said, "Useless intern. At least she's good at cleaning up our mess." A week later, I was actually cleaning. Not code, literal toilets. They said it was part of company bonding, but no one else had to do it. The thing is, I never stopped building. In the evenings, when the office emptied out and the fancy boys went home to their rooftop bars, I stayed. I coded in silence, eating vending machine chips and listening to the servers hum. I was building a drone system, one that could scan disaster zones and give first responders live data on injuries, danger zones, and trapped victims. It was smart. Smarter than any of them realized. I didn't ask anyone for help. I didn't need to. Then came demo day. I watched from the back of the room, next to the janitor's cart. The team presented a new idea, the Stitcher drone. It was mine. Every line of logic, every algorithm, even the name format I used in the code. Marla called it a team effort. Everyone clapped. I felt the air drain from my lungs. I tried to speak up. I showed my files, my notebooks, my timestamps. The HR lady smiled and said, "The project belongs to the company." By Friday, my ID badge didn't work. Security walked me out with a plastic box of my things. Reddit called me a delusional attention seeker. Tech blogs laughed me off. No one believed me. 2 weeks later, my name was removed from the team Slack. All of my files disappeared from the drive. They made me a ghost. But I wasn't done. Let them have their stolen prize. Let them forget me. They thought I was useless. They had no idea what I was about to become. I moved back into my old bedroom, the one with peeling glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling and a broken desk lamp. My parents didn't ask too many questions. They just left a bowl of rice and fish by my door every night and told me to rest. I didn't. I couldn't. I stayed up late every night, staring at my old laptop. The screen flickered, the fan made a whining noise, but it worked. I began collecting everything I had, notes, screenshots, versions of the code I'd written, even blurry photos of my prototype. I made folders. I named them things like proof_they_lied and useless_girl_file. It made me feel better, like I wasn't crazy, like I could still prove I existed. Then one day, I saw the article. Stitcher drone wins $25 million Homeland Security contract. My heart dropped. The photo showed my old team, standing in a row, smiling. Marla in the front, holding a drone that looked exactly like the one I built. Same body, same camera mounts. They changed the color. That was it. I clicked through to the comments. Reddit was full of it. Praise, memes, think pieces. Then I saw the thread. Someone had posted an old version of my resume. I don't know how they got it. They were mocking it. She thinks they stole from her? LOL. Delusional. Maybe if she learned to talk to people, she wouldn't have been fired. Sounds like a diversity hire gone wrong. I stared at the screen until my eyes burned. I tried logging into my old work email. Nothing. Dead. I searched for my Slack messages. Gone. Even my Git commits were wiped from the repo. They deleted me. All except one person. One night, around 2 a.m., I got an email. No subject. Just a message. I remember what you made. I saw it. You weren't crazy. It was from a personal Gmail. Signed, Nathan. It took me a minute to remember him. He was the janitor. He never said much, but he always nodded at me when we passed in the hallway. I replied, "Why are you helping me?" He answered the next day, "Because I know what it's like when no one listens." We met at a diner off I-45. He sat across from me in a worn-out hoodie, sipping black coffee. He had an old scar down the side of his face and eyes that looked like they'd seen a lot. "I saw them copy your drone," he said. "They took pictures. One night after you left, they took your prototype from your locker." I was mopping. I stared at him. He leaned in and whispered, "Let's burn them down." Nathan's garage became our lab. It smelled like gasoline, old cardboard, and stale takeout. The walls were covered with shelves full of broken radios, wires, cracked motherboards, and tools that looked older than me. There was no air conditioning, just a dusty fan that made more noise than wind. But I loved it. We started with scrap parts. I dug through electronics dumpsters, thrift stores, even old school auctions. We found a busted drone frame, stripped the insides, and began rebuilding. I reprogrammed everything from scratch. Nathan taught me how to solder properly. We watched YouTube tutorials with 10 views and 2 likes. We called it the Spite Lab. I worked late into the night, writing cleaner code, designing smarter algorithms. The new drone was faster and smaller, with better thermal scanning and a self-stabilizing flight system. I added a decision-making AI chip I had been designing for months, one that could adapt mid-flight to new data, something Stitcher never had. Nathan kept a whiteboard with one word written at the top in red marker: revenge. Underneath, we listed every failure parallax made with Stitcher, every bug, every news report about missed targets or delayed rescues. Then came the headline that changed everything. Stitcher drone malfunction causes civilian death during emergency drill. A 10-year-old boy. The drone misread his vitals and flagged him as non-priority. EMTs skipped him during triage. By the time they came back, it was too late. Nathan slammed his laptop shut when we read it. I just sat there shaking. They didn't just steal from me. They were killing people with it. Nathan poured us both instant ramen. We ate in silence, staring at the half-built drone on the workbench. I used to build satellites, he said suddenly, before they ruined my name. One mistake on a test flight, and they pinned it all on me. I wasn't even the one who made the call. But I didn't have the right friends, so he didn't finish. He didn't have to. I pushed the bowl aside and stood up. We're going to finish this. And we're going to destroy them. He smiled. Now you're talking. From that night on, we worked faster, tighter. I didn't care about making money. I didn't care about fame. I wanted to watch Parallax burn. And this time, no one was going to steal from me. We called it Thorn Tech, because sometimes the thing they call useless is the one that leaves the deepest wound. Nathan and I filmed a short demo video in the middle of the night, using a local fire training ground we paid a janitor to sneak us into. We set up fake victims, smoke bombs, and simple obstacles. Then we let the drone fly. It worked perfectly. It scanned the bodies, listed injuries, gave real-time vitals, and sent back a triage report to our phone. We recorded everything. Nathan edited the video in iMovie. I added text in a bold, simple font. Thorntech drone, built to save, not to impress. Cheaper, faster, smarter. We posted it to TikTok using a throwaway account. No names, no faces, just a caption. Meanwhile, Parallax's $25 million drone just killed a kid. The video blew up overnight. 1.2 million views by morning. Comments flooded in. This looks 10x better than Stitcher. Wait, how is this real? This is what happens when actual engineers build stuff. Parallax's team ignored it at first. Then they started sweating. Their investors began pulling out. Homeland Security contacted them with questions. Who is Thorntech? Why is their drone outperforming yours? The company panicked. They sent out job listings offering insane salaries for drone engineers. Then they posted a public bounty, $500,000 to anyone who could identify and recruit the Thorntech inventor. And then Marla did it. She posted a long, emotional note on LinkedIn with a photo of her in front of a drone. The title was, "We need more women in tech, especially brilliant ones like Thorntech's creator." She wrote about how women in STEM are often overlooked, and how we need to elevate voices, not silence. She added a crying emoji. I nearly choked on my coffee. She had once told me I wasn't team material, because I didn't make eye contact during meetings. Now she was pretending to be a hero for a woman she didn't know was me. Nathan read the post out loud in a dramatic voice, then said, "She's shaking. I guarantee it." I watched the chaos unfold from the same garage I built the drone in, still wearing the same hoodie I'd worn since college. No press. No interviews. No credit. Just one silent message. "You thought I was gone. I'm just getting started." The invitation came through a private message. Homeland Security wanted to meet with someone from Thorntech. Confidential, it said. High urgency. Safety matter. I knew it was risky, but I said yes. Nathan didn't like it. "You don't have to walk into the lion's den," he said. "I want them to see me," I said. "I want them to know exactly who they lost." We chose the disguise carefully. A brown wig, glasses, a fake name badge. Simple, clean, untraceable. Nathan waited outside in the van, just in case. The meeting was set inside a private conference room at the Parallax Systems building, the same one where I was fired. When I stepped in, everything smelled the same. That mix of burnt coffee, floor cleaner, and cold recycled air. It felt like stepping into a memory I had buried. The Homeland rep was there, calm and curious. Across the table sat Marla, wearing a designer blazer and a fake friendly smile. Her hair was the same, but there were tired lines under her eyes. She looked thinner, stressed. She looked at me, paused, then froze. Her smile cracked just a little. "Ellie." I didn't answer. I sat down slowly and placed a small flash drive on the table. "This is everything," I said. "New design, current capabilities, field testing, You'll see it's more advanced than Stitcher in every way. The Homeland guy reached for it, but I pulled it back. I didn't come here to sell. Marla leaned forward. Ellie, we didn't part on good terms, I know that. But this is bigger than personal feeling. People are dying. We could do something real here, together. I laughed. It came out bitter. Now you want to work together? I made mistakes, she said. I'm owning that. But this is a chance to do the right thing, together. I stared at her for a long second, then slid the flash drive across the table. Check the last folder. The Homeland guy opened it on his laptop. Inside were old office recordings, time-stamped. One showed my drone prototype. Another caught a conversation, two of the programmers joking about copying my files. Marla was in the background, nodding. She turned pale. You can't prove. I stood. I just did. The Homeland agent looked between us, saying nothing. I picked up my coat. This isn't about saving your company anymore. It's about saving lives. The next time someone's trapped in a building, it'll be my drone that finds them, not yours. She reached out, desperate. Ellie, please. I didn't stop walking. Outside, Nathan opened the van door. How'd it go? I climbed in, plugged in my seatbelt, and said, she finally saw me. We didn't stop. After the meeting, I went right back to work. I didn't care about the headlines or the fake apologies. I didn't want a stage. I wanted results. Nathan and I brought in more people. We found them the same way we found everything else, quietly, online, with purpose. First came Jules, a 19-year-old indie developer I found on Reddit. She had built a wildfire mapping program for her high school science fair and never got credit for it. She coded like she was playing a game, laughing as she rewrote my interface in under an hour. Next came Marcus, a rogue EMT who'd been fired for using experimental tech during a storm rescue. He knew what real chaos looked like. Collapsed roofs, blocked roads, terrified family. He gave our drones the perspective I never had. Last came Theo, a drone hacker from Oregon who used to mod racing drones in underground tournaments. He tuned the motors and made our birds fly like they had instinct. We didn't have a fancy lab. Just garages, warehouses, and borrowed church basements. But our ideas were real, and our work spoke for itself. We expanded the drone system. Fire tracking, structural collapse scanning, real-time damage maps, heat signatures for bodies trapped under rubble. Then we picked our test zones, not the big cities. Those were already crowded with news crews and overpriced gear. We chose the places no one cared about. Rural Louisiana, where floodwaters swallowed whole towns. Trailer parks in Oklahoma, where tornadoes left families with nothing. Abandoned buildings in Kentucky, where emergency response was always too late. We didn't announce anything. We just showed up. Our drones flew into danger zones ahead of ambulances. They mapped routes, flagged injuries, even dropped emergency supplies when no one else could get through. People started posting videos. This drone saved my grandpa. We thought we were stuck, then this flying thing found us. I don't know who built it, but thank you. The name Thorn Tech began to show up in local papers. Then bigger ones. Then national. But still no one knew who we were. Reporters emailed. Networks called. We ignored them. I stayed in the background, where I worked best. I let the drone speak for me. Marla was still out there, trying to patch up Parallax's broken system, trying to make herself the hero again. But we were already doing the work. And every time one of our drones saved a life, I thought of her. Not because I wanted her to see it, but because I knew she couldn't stop it. It happened on a Sunday morning. A 6.9 earthquake hit just outside Fresno, California. Buildings crumbled. Roads cracked open. Fires broke out. Parallax was ready. Or so they claimed. They had been bragging for weeks about a live demo of the Stitcher drones during a real emergency. Government contracts were lined up. Cameras were rolling. But the drones failed. Badly. One flew straight into a burning building and got stuck. Another scanned 3 injured people and flagged them all as low priority. One drone misidentified a gas leak and exploded when it sent sparks into the area. 14 people died. 5 of them had been marked safe. The backlash was instant. Angry families. Viral posts. News outlets demanding answers. Then came the whistleblowers. Former Parallax employees started leaking files. Old code, stolen designs, chat logs from years ago. My name was in them. My prototype screenshots. My notes. Even my bug reports. They had taken everything, rushed it, slapped a shiny logo on top, and pushed it to market before it was ready. Now people were dead. The government froze all contracts. Homeland pulled funding. Marla was subpoenaed for fraud, negligence, and false reporting. I watched it unfold on my phone, sitting in the back of a thrift store cafe in Austin, sipping cold coffee. Jules was next to me, scrolling through Reddit. They're calling you Ghost Dev, she said. You're trending. I looked over. There were memes. Fan art. A thread with 500,000 upvotes titled, "Whoever built Thorn Tech deserves a Nobel Prize." They didn't know my face. Didn't know my name. But they knew the work. Reddit, the same place that mocked me 2 years ago, was now obsessed with me. People were digging through old articles, trying to figure out who I was. A few even guessed, but most had no idea. Nathan sent a text. They're eating each other alive over there. Karma's fast when it's angry. But I didn't smile. Not yet. Because this wasn't the finish line. Parallax was falling, yes. But the real change, the thing I had been working on in secret for months, was still loading on my laptop, one green progress bar at a time. Something bigger. Something better. They had taken everything from me once. But this time, I was going to take it all back. Not as Ellie Tran. As the girl they tried to erase. And who refused to disappear. Parallax tried one last move. A massive public demo, live-streamed across the country. They picked Phoenix, Arizona. A full citywide emergency drill. Fake fires, fake building collapses. Actors playing injured victim. The whole thing was set up to prove Stitcher still worked. They brought cameras, reporters, even influencers. The CEO stood on a stage in a suit, smiling like nothing had happened. Marla was nowhere in sight, probably hiding. Their plan was simple. Show the Stitcher drones flying over disaster zones, tagging victims, mapping routes, all in perfect order. Clean, safe, controlled. What they didn't know was that we were already there. Nathan, Jules, Marcus, and Theo had arrived the night before. We hacked into the city's drone network and slipped our birds into the sky without anyone noticing. At first, everything looked fine. The Stitchers launched into the air with their smooth white shells and blinking light. They hovered over buildings, scanned the actors, and displayed data on big screens. But within 5 minutes, things started to fall apart. One drone circled the same body twice. Another flew into a power line and fried itself. A third tagged a clearly breathing actor as deceased. That's when we released ours. Thorntech drones dropped into the scene like birds of prey. Sleek, quiet, black matte shells. No lights. Just purpose. They scanned the same victims and responded in seconds. Correct triage. Real-time feedback. Adjustments on the fly. One drone delivered a trauma kit to a rooftop. Another found a child, hidden in fake debris, and lit a path for rescue crews. The audience gasped. Reporters whispered. The live stream chat exploded. What the hell is that drone? That's not Stitcher. This one just saved that guy. On screen, the words Thorntech Response AI, model version 3.4 appeared. Then it got worse. One Stitcher drone started spinning midair. It crashed into a group of actors. One man, not part of the drill, was hit in the leg. Blood sprayed across the pavement. Screams echoed through the speakers. The demo was still live. A reporter turned to the CEO and shoved a mic in his face. Can you explain what just happened? He stuttered, sweated, tried to blame a technical error. At that exact moment, a federal agent stepped onto the stage and whispered in his ear. Then he pulled out cuffs. The CEO was arrested on camera mid-sentence. The live stream cut off. We watched from a rooftop across the street, laptop open, antennas blinking. Nathan handed me a soda. Jules took a picture of the sky. Marcus just said, "That's game." I didn't cheer. I just watched the smoke clear and whispered, "We're not done yet." The email came through a burner account. No subject, just one line. Marla wants to make a deal. I didn't respond right away. I let it sit there, glowing on my screen while I finished rewiring one of the drone's flight sensors. Nathan leaned over my shoulder and read it. "She's scared," he said. "Desperate people don't make offers unless they're bleeding." The next day, an attorney called using a block number. He was polite, slick, and full of empty words. "She's prepared to offer full licensing credit," he said. "7-figure payout. You'll be listed as co-creator of the Stitcher system. This could be your chance to move forward." I let him finish. Then I hung up. We didn't need their money, or their fake credit. Instead, I emailed everything I had, years of notes, files, recordings, deleted chats, to a trusted journalist and a federal investigator who had quietly reached out after the live demo disaster. I sent it all. No edits. No spin. The journalist broke the story a week later. Front page. Bold headline. Parallax theft confirmed. Thorntech's ghost dev speaks through code, not words. Attached were screenshots, footage, and legal documents showing how Marla and her team stole my invention, buried my name, and nearly killed dozens by rushing a broken version into the world. The federal case opened immediately. Parallax's stock crashed overnight. Sponsors pulled out. Partners vanished. Their name, once plastered on every tech site and trade show banner, was now tied to lies and failure. Marla was arrested 2 days later at a hotel in D.C. She looked shocked in the photo. No makeup, no perfect smile. Just cold cuffs around her wrists. Meanwhile, Thorntech was invited to Washington. Quietly, without the media. Homeland offered us full recognition and federal support. The president gave a short statement during a press conference about emergency tech. He didn't say my name, but he nodded toward the screen behind him, where a small black drone hovered gently beside a rescue worker. Thanks to a small anonymous startup, he said, we've seen what real innovation looks like, built not in boardrooms but in garages. But my name didn't stay hidden for long. A YouTuber put the pieces together. Someone on Reddit confirmed it. My face was out. My name, Ellie Tran, the useless intern, the janitor's friend, the girl they laughed at. Now I was everywhere. News profiles, fan pages, emails from people who once called me a fraud now begging for interview. Apologies filled my inbox. I didn't reply to any of them, because we still had work to do. The stage lights were warm, too bright. Ellie adjusted the mic clipped to her collar and glanced out at the packed room. Engineers, college students, reporters, rescue workers, all staring back, waiting. She hadn't wanted to do this. She'd said no to dozens of interviews, keynote offers, podcasts, and panels. But this one was different. A conference focused on disaster tech, hosted by first responders themselves. No billionaires. No suits. Just people who did the work. She stood at the podium in her usual hoodie and jeans. No makeup. No PR team. Just herself. She took a deep breath, then said, if they didn't think I was useless, I never would have built anything. A few people shifted in their seats. Someone chuckled softly. She went on. They laughed. They locked me out. Made me clean floors while they accepted awards for something they stole. But here's the thing. If they had taken me seriously, they would have tried to control me, shape me, use me. But because they ignored me, I got to build something real, something that saves lives. The room was silent now, focused. She told them the truth. About the garage, the ramen, the silence. About Nathan, about the failures and test crashes. About the first time their drone actually saved a real person. She didn't say Marla's name. Didn't need to. Everyone knew. I didn't do this to prove anything, she said. I did it because someone had to. And because I knew how. That's it. She closed her laptop. You don't need permission to build. You don't need to be liked. You just need to keep going. The crowd stood as she stepped away. Not with cheers, but with respect. The kind that didn't fade when the lights went off. Later that week, she stood alone in the field. A tornado had hit the edge of a small town in Missouri. Power was still out. The roads were muddy. But the Thorntech drones were already up. They buzzed quietly overhead, scanning wreckage, highlighting gas leaks, tagging debris piles where people might still be trapped. Ellie walked through the wreckage with a small tablet in her hand, following the real-time feed. Her hoodie was soaked. Her boots were covered in dirt. No cameras. No speeches. Just work. A little girl clung to her mother as a drone hovered near, dropping a medical kit gently into the grass. The mother looked up, confused. Who's flying those? Ellie didn't answer. She just nodded toward the sky. She didn't forgive the people who tried to erase her. But she didn't need revenge anymore. She had built something better. And it would keep flying, long after they were forgotten.
Hi besties, thank you so much for watching to the end. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe.